this heaven?
No. It's Iowa.
6 more days till Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. 6 more days to Halloween, Silver Shamrock. Hello, everybody. It's me from the Silver Shamrock. I've got Stonehenge here. Remember, Halloween night, we're going to warp your kids' brains, so be sure to tune in for our big prize giveaway. Your children's heads turning into snakes and all various disgusting creatures.
Up next is Halloween 3, Season of the Witch on the Pot of Dreams.
Season of the Witch, the night no one comes home.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Pod of Dreams. I'm Ben, Eric. Spooky season. We're still in it.
Part 3. We only got one more to go.
That's right.
It is 6 more days till Halloween as we sit and record this.
That's right. Yep, we're getting there. It's fast approaching. Candy and spooky costumes. And for our part 3 of our 4-part series, we did another part 3, Halloween part 3, Season of the Witch, which is such a weird title that makes no. Can you explain why it's Season of the Witch? Eric,
I can't explain anything with this movie. There is nothing in this movie that makes sense to me. But we'll get into it.
Yeah, that's the big problem with this movie. Once we get there, but yes, it's called Season of the Witch. Now,
there is not a single witch in this entire movie. At least not one that I caught.
Maybe there's a witch costume somewhere in one of the montages of kids trick-or-treating, maybe? That's it. Yeah, there's no reason. The title doesn't make any sense. Season of the Witch unless...
Well, and there's that song, Season of the Witch, right? That's I think from the 70s. Why was that not like the title track to the movie?
I don't know. Maybe it was a cost thing. I mean, this movie didn't have a very big budget. I mean, so I picked this movie because I've heard that it's weird, and some people seem to think it's really great. Spoiler, I don't think it's great. But
no, I think the general consensus at this point in time is that this is like the second best Halloween movie. Of all of even including the new ones that just came out, all of them. I just listened to one of my favorite podcasts, The Big Picture. They ranked the Halloween movies. They had this at number 2 as the second best Halloween movie behind the original.
Is this damning because the other Halloween movies are that bad? I don't care.
No.
Spoiler.
Lunacy. That's lunacy to say this is the second best Halloween movie.
The Halloween franchise at all. I don't care about Michael Myers. I don't really care about slashers all that much. I haven't seen any. I've seen the original Halloween and a couple of the way later ones. I don't care. It doesn't interest me. What interests me about this movie is that it doesn't have other than somebody's watching Halloween, the movie Halloween at a bar,
twice.
Or it's
twice.
Playing. Yeah,
there's a commercial for. There's a trailer for the commercials, like the classic Halloween, and then there is a guy watching Halloween. I think a security guard or something like that.
Yeah, but that's it. We don't get.
Isn't there
at the gas station? Maybe. Yeah, I don't know.
Isn't there also a reference that the woman is sifting through Michael Myers' ashes or something like that? Or did I space that? The forensic lady, the woman that is doing the forensic stuff.
Oh, she may have said that. I don't think I caught that, but you could be right. If she said that might be something she would have said. But that's what interests me, because I don't care at all about Michael Myers. I don't care about the Halloween. If they never made another Halloween movie, I wouldn't care. I didn't need any of the sequels. Eric, one of them has Paul Rudd in it. I mean, come on.
Yeah, where he's not like a demon person, right? Isn't he?
I don't know. I haven't seen it. I just know Paul Rudd's in it, and you hate Paul Rudd, so I assumed that was a strike.
You should have made me watch that one. That would have been really grisly. I bet it's better than this. I bet it's better than this.
So for a while, there's this movie is in some ways really reaching really high. It's going for a really biting satire of consumerism and Halloween. It's going for it.
Is it?
I didn't say it. Well, you hear the song that we started with, that 8 more days. So you see that version of that commercial, I don't know, 10 times. We hear it on the radio. It's a really annoying, aggravating jingle. And this company
Well,
is
it's London Bridge.
that's the tune.
Yeah.
That's the tune. The words are different, but yeah, it's the tune to the London Bridge is falling down. They're selling these really generic-looking masks.
Terrible masks. Yes.
For thousands of kids, which I think you wouldn't be very successful, because I don't know how many kids
Who's buying those stupid masks?
Yeah, who wants to look like all the other kids? It doesn't make sense, really. But
the whole plot hinges on kids buying those stupid masks. That's
and
literally
doing it
the plot of the movie.
and also getting back from trick-or-treating to watch
a commercial. Yes.
Which it's going, again, to me, that reads as we're talking about how mass-produced, shameless, it's there, but then it doesn't it's not even stick the landing. It doesn't even attempt a landing. I mean, the movie just completely disintegrates at the end.
That is not an interesting idea for a horror movie, in my opinion. That is a terrible, stupid idea.
Zombie. You're the guy that's turned on by zombies. That's what's the zombie one in the mall? Is that Dawn of the Dead?
Dawn of the Dead's a phenomenal movie.
That's about consumerism.
Those are called metaphors, Ben.
I'm saying this was going for a metaphor as well. I'm not saying it did it well or effectively or that I like it. I just think that's what it's trying to do. That's my only point. I'll stick by that it was trying to do it. I'm not saying it landed. Anyway, it's going for that. And there was one moment in this movie where I really thought, okay, this might be really scary and creepy and unsettling. Do you know what moment I'm talking about?
The little kid with the bugs and stuff.
That was of the 3 movies we've watched for our spooky season. That was the one scene that most got to me.
But it made no sense.
It doesn't make sense, and I didn't care that it didn't make sense, and I would have liked this movie if it tried to make it didn't bother trying to make sense. It tries to make sense and fails miserably. We'll get there. But that scene where the kid, he's watching a commercial, he's looking at the TV, he's putting on this stupid pumpkin mask, and then he convulses, and then
it's because it breaks a cardinal rule in horror movies, which is watching a child die. I mean, that's literally one of the rules you never break in horror movies is kids dying. Which is spoiler if you've seen the new Halloween, there's a sequence where a child dies right in the beginning of the movie, which is pretty traumatizing. But
sure. But I mean, the whole plan is that they're trying to do something weird and awful to kids. We eventually figure out what it is, and it doesn't. I mean, this is where I was up to that point, I was okay, there's some problems, especially the relationship between our 2 protagonists. Why do we have this creepy?
One of the worst. It is the epitome of bad male protagonist, love interest with the female protagonist, where he's 30 years older than her. He's a woman. I mean, it's just the worst of the worst.
And she's into him inexplicably. It doesn't make any sense. And for a while, I was I thought there was going to be sort of criticism of this guy as a shitty dad, because we see that he's skipping. He's a doctor and he's divorced, and clearly he's not spent a lot of time at home. Doesn't have a good relationship with his kids. Yeah. He's an alcoholic. We see him he's on a payphone and he's got a 6-pack of Miller Lite or whatever the hell it is on top. He's ringing all the time. Oh, there's going to be something to say about this guy, and there isn't in the end.
He's the hero.
It doesn't matter that he's an alcoholic. It doesn't matter that he's a womanizer.
The lead of this movie is a doctor, and there is no reason that he's a doctor. He spends half of the movie as a detective trying to solve this mystery. There's nothing redeeming. I'll just say it right now. This is the worst movie we watched on this podcast.
Even THX 1138.
This is worse than that.
Oh,
because
wow.
this movie actually made me angry. Because, okay, I think we're jumping the gun here. So
that's fine.
This is Halloween 3. It is the 3rd movie in this Halloween franchise. The first movie you talked about a little bit, I think is the one of, if not the greatest horror movie ever made. It's John Carpenter. It's Michael Myers. It's just about a guy killing people in a neighborhood. It's incredible. It's amazing. It's maybe one of the greatest movies ever made. Halloween 2 is a direct sequel to that. It happens literally the same night. It's the rest of that night.
See, that sounds so stupid. Okay.
It's not that great, but it's Halloween. They up the kills. The kills are gory. There's the hot tub kill, if you've ever heard of that. It's wicked. And then Michael Myers dies. and so does Dr. Loomis, and that's the end of the story. So then they roll out this shit with the idea that they're going to make some anthology. I think that was the kind of story behind it.
New Halloweens, and right, each one would be different.
Just related to the holiday of Halloween, which is, I think, a noble idea, right? Okay, you're going to do some cool Halloween movies with, maybe they don't have to do it Michael Myers. Maybe they sort of tangentially have to do it Michael Myers. Fine. But you're already hurting me a bit by just not having any of that in there, right? You don't have Michael Myers. You don't have Laurie Strode. You don't have Dr. Loomis. You don't have any of the shit that made me like the story.
You and I are so different. I don't care about any of that stuff. I mean, I wanted it for one movie. Then
so you're going to see Friday the 13th with no Jason. You're going to see Nightmare on Elm Street with no Freddy Krueger. You're going to see Child's Play with no Chucky.
Those movies are all
you're cool
silly
with that?
And campy fun. Freddy Krueger is an actual entertaining villain. Michael Myers isn't actually an interesting villain. He's just this faceless guy in a William Shatner mask who kills for reasons we don't know. I don't even know more about.
Frankenstein isn't an interesting villain. It's classic. It's one of the most classic horror villains ever.
But what works about Michael Myers is you don't know anything about him. You don't know why he's doing anything, and then each movie has to explain more and more.
Well, in Halloween 2, the only thing they explain more is that it's all of a sudden now Laurie Strode is his sister. Like what? Like when
and
we
that's
just
fine.
learned that?
I haven't seen Halloween 2. I don't care. I
think at some point she becomes his mom. Like there's a bunch of just weird
that's
shit.
Dumb. And I like Friday the 13th not because they're scary. I like Nightmare on Elm Street not because they're scary, because they're goofy. Freddy's a genuinely I like a murderous guy that does dad jokes. That's fine. Sign me up for that. None of those movies are scary. Halloween doesn't scare me. And I just don't care about the
scary. The first one is the idea that this person could just walk in a neighborhood and just start killing people is pretty terrifying.
What happens when you make him like supernatural and a demon and weird
that's
stuff?
When but that's what franchises do. Look at all the Hellraiser movies. They get crazier and crazier.
And they get worse and worse, and I don't care about them. I like that this movie takes a total left turn. So
but the left turn they take is off a cliff because this movie is terrible. All the ideas are bad.
The ideas aren't all bad.
The ideas are all bad. What the fuck does Stonehenge have to do with this movie? Explain to me. Explain to me what Stonehenge has to do with this movie.
It doesn't. There's no reason Stonehenge. That's to me the execution. So the idea that works is there's a Halloween company that wants to do to murder a bunch of kids and is using commercials. Why? I don't want to know the why. See, that's where I get frightened. When I didn't know what was happening, that was where this movie was the most scary. When we see the woman get her face, I don't know what the hell happened. She gets a beam to her face, and then she's like mostly dead, and she's going like this, and a bug crawls out of her mouth. That was freaky. When we see this kid die in some weird way, I was like, what is happening? My brain couldn't figure it out. Then as we actually explain what's going on, it's so stupid, and there's so many parts about it that don't make any sense. It creates all these bizarre contradictions, paradoxes, stupidity. It doesn't make any sense in the end.
I'll read for you what Roger Ebert wrote about this movie. Okay. A lot of problems with Halloween 3. The most basic one is I could never figure out what the villain wanted to accomplish if he got his way. His scheme is easy to figure. He wants to sell millions of Halloween masks to nation's kiddies and then brainwash them to put them on at the same time, whereupon laser beams at the base of their neck will fry the tykes. Meanwhile, he runs a factory that turns out lifelike robots. What's his plan? Kill the kids and replace them with robots? Why? I don't know. And that summarizes this movie.
See, I don't want to know why. I don't even want to know. Like, okay,
but it can't just be a corporation wants to kill kids. I mean,
it's not a corporation. It's ultimately some Celtic cult from thousands of years ago. These are all these descendants of these weird, again, this ancient Celtic tribe that believes in bloodletting and population control or something. It's stupid. But yes, the robots. Why are they robots? This is where the execution comes in. Why are these people robots? This guy, is it artificial intelligence? Is everybody but the one guy a robot?
This is a horror movie. This is supposed to be scary. Like, that's the intent of it. And there's nothing, it's a stupid sci-fi plot that makes no sense.
Exactly. Why robots? The robots is such a terrible choice. It's a terrible choice for so many reasons. Like, you've created this artificial intelligence that can walk around and do stuff, and then you're convinced, like, then you want to just murder a bunch of kids. I mean, you could also, but like we see, okay, so we have the protagonist and his love interest. The love interest is captured at one point, and we see what we think is her strapped down on like a slab in a lab. It turns out that at some point they'd murdered her and replaced her with like a perfect replica. So in the span of a few hours, she's replaced with an android. You could just start systemically doing this with like kids' parents or something. and then murder a bunch of kids? This is where all these questions come in. And it's, why doesn't she stop the protagonist earlier? Like, she walks around with him and helps him, or just stands there as he sabotages everything, right? He sabotages it, and she doesn't stop him. And we have to wait until he drives away before we get the reveal, oh, she was a robot the whole time. And we get this really obnoxious extended. It made me think of Austin Powers and Fembots. So it made me think of a lot of the whole last act, especially made me think of a shitty Roger Moore movie. Like, after we find out what happens, we get the like classic Bond villain, I've got to explain my plot to you.
In his secret lair where he's got his stupid screens that don't mean anything. Yeah.
And we got these corny like 80s computers that looks absurd. And he trashes everything, and people explode, really bad special effects. And he runs around, and nobody notices him, even though he's not that sneaky, and it doesn't make sense. And then it's like, wait, no, we're getting lost in the plot. I needed less plot for this to work. I needed less attempts to understand. I didn't want explanation. I didn't want to know what.
But then, what is
why.
the movie? It's a doctor and a woman who's like 30 years younger than him, who just all of a sudden sleeps.
Also a problem.
We see them sleep together twice in this movie, and for what reason I don't know. Why is he even investigating it? Because he had a patient come in that went crazy, and now he wants to sleep with this woman.
I thought he just wanted to get laid, and or she doesn't make. We talk about fetishes. You know what's a weird fetish? I'm investigating the murder of my dad with somebody, and that turns me on. I mean, like, that's so weird. She's investigating her dad's murder, and then is just really
and they sleep together like twice before he's even like, wait, how old are you? And she's like, I'm older than I look, or some shit like that. Like, insane that's in a movie.
And it's so irrelevant to anything. You could have these two characters involved, and to me, you could make that part of the plot. Like, oh, he's a shitty dad and he wants to avoid his kids, and this is just an excuse. And maybe he wants to sleep with her, but why? No, don't have her reciprocate.
It's not like he cares that his kids might die. That never crosses his mind.
Until the end, it does. Then he calls his wife, who doesn't believe him. He's like, don't
put the mask on. Yeah, there is.
He calls his wife at the end, and then he how does he get the number for the radio station or the TV stations? I don't get that. I mean, there's so many problems with the specific logistics of this, of how they're trying to do this, I kept thinking about it, and I was like, man, this is so stupid. I kept thinking about all the dumb stuff in this movie, and then I couldn't get scared. I want less explanation. When I didn't know what was happening, that was when I was most creeped out. When I saw the kid die, like, what the fuck is going on? That's where I was like, I didn't have any bearing. I couldn't figure out what was going on, and that was way more upsetting than, oh, this guy is like a Celtic cult that wants to murder a bunch of kids on Halloween. And then he gets beamed. Did he die, or does he get transported to hell? He at some point.
Or are they aliens? Like, I don't know.
And I didn't know how many people were robots. It was literally just working for him. Were there any actual humans that worked for him?
I have no idea, man.
I don't.
You're
either.
asking questions I don't have answers to.
There aren't. These aren't answerable questions. The problem is that I'm thinking about them because the plot was so stupid at the end. The last act just failed so miserably.
This is the thing. If you look on Rotten Tomatoes, our pal Brian Eggert, who was just on our podcast and recommended this movie, he gave it 3 out of 4 stars. He thought this was like a great attempt at a kind of different kind of horror movie. And I
like the ideas way more than you do. I think there's some interesting ideas.
He is not alone in that. I mean, if you people on Twitter or other film people, like, they love this fucking movie, and I was just left completely astounded to even try to understand why anyone would think this is okay at all. Like, the choices it makes, the execution, all of it's all just trash. This is one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
Wow. Okay. I mean, I don't like it, and I don't think it's good. Wow, it made you angry. That's interesting. See, I love I don't care about Michael. I love we're taking a choice. We're going a different direction. There are some cool ideas in there, but then oh my god, the plot, it's just so dumb. It's just so stupid. It doesn't make any sense. Why are you I mean, it's like even it's like I just kept thinking of it, the easily escapable situation and assume everything goes according to plan, right? Our protagonist is strapped to a chair in front of a TV with a mask on so that eventually his brain can melt. Like an hour beforehand, he's able to kick the TV, get a shard of that glass, cut out. The most ridiculous.
But it's like the Austin Powers thing. I have a gun. I can just go kill him. Like, no. We're going to put him in a room. We're going to put a mask on him. Then the thing will kill him. Like, what are you talking about?
This movie has a lot of dumb stuff, but the dumbest stuff was the throw. when he throws the mask on the
Caught it
camera.
right on the camera, yeah.
He barely gets. He just flicks his wrist like it's a frisbee or something. Gets this perfect throw. I was like, oh, this is Roger Moore Bond. This is just lunacy. This is so ridiculously stupid. And then he's crawling through the vents, and nobody can figure it out. And then apparently the woman was set up as bait, but he didn't leave anybody there to guard her. He just waited till he got to the room on the camera and then sent one team of cronies down the hallway so he could run away the other side. I love there's these little moments that I think are great that end up being wasted. Right? We see the guy die at the beginning. I mean, I love the way the movie starts. We see a static camera facing darkness and somebody runs. And I like the score too. I love John Carpenter's creepy.
Yeah, he did all the music. Yeah,
it's
for sure.
creepy and
he was
unsettling.
actually heavily involved in this movie. I think he co-wrote it or he produced it or something like that. He was involved in it.
Yeah,
which
well, I think he
surprises
knew
me.
like Michael Myers. There's no juice to squeeze really on that villain, but people like what's familiar and so they want to see more of that. But I see a guy run. He's chased by two guys in suits. We don't really know what's going on. Something seems off. Eventually makes it to the hospital. One of those guys finds him in the hospital and kills him in a pretty gruesome way. And like, there's this moment that like, it stuck with me for a while. And then I was just like, maybe it was just a bad choice. I don't think there was any particular reason for it. But this guy, who we find out later is a robot, right? We don't know he's a robot. We think it's a person. He murders this guy. He's got blood on his glove-covered hand. He takes a second to wipe the curtain of the blood, right? He's like wiping his hand up and down, like, what? Why is he doing that? He's got a glove on, and shouldn't he try to escape, or what's going on? And the guy doesn't. He just walks to his car, lights himself on fire, and torches the match, and the whole car burns. So I was like, what's going on? That's weird. What is happening? That was interesting to me. I couldn't place it, couldn't figure it out. But then when you realize there's a robot, you're like, wait, why is a robot wiping his hand? That's just stupid. It doesn't make any sense that it's a robot.
I don't know. The other kill where the robot gets squished by the car too, that was again just like he looks up, the thing squishes him, he just drops his head, and it's the dumbest kill.
Well, see, that one made sense to me in the hindsight. Like, okay, he's a robot. That's why he didn't really care about self-preservation. He's trying to get the job done.
So the setup of this movie is supposed to because it takes forever to get to the whole Halloween mask thing. We're like almost done with the movie by the time that's even revealed
some
to
sex
itself.
Scenes and a bunch of other stuff.
And people dying, and these guys in suits. That's literally, instead of Michael Myers, we just have some white dudes in suits chasing people. That's what's supposed to be the big bad scary in this movie, and it's not. It's not scary at all. Watch, and we also later find out that they're just robots, like Westworld style, walking around trying to kill people. Like, there's nothing scary or interesting about that at all.
No, the robots part of it is the worst choice of all of it. If they were brainwashed,
Ben, that is the movie. What do you mean the worst choice? There's that, and then there's the Halloween masks. That's what this movie is.
Well, a movie isn't just its plot. I mean, the atmosphere works for a while for a lot of it. My point is, when we reveal like, oh, it was robots the whole time, that's a disastrous choice. The masks being used to kill kids. The specifics of this plot don't make any sense because is it a national? Is the commercial national? Yeah,
they show it's like Dayton, Ohio. They have, I mean, it's all over the place.
At 10 o'clock, what?
Seattle, Washington.
I would not have been able to watch TV at 10 o'clock at night. So it would have been 11 o'clock when this aired in the great state of Iowa. I would not have been allowed to be up watching Halloween, the movie, and I would not have been able to see some prize giveaway at 11 o'clock.
Then you would have been safe.
Everybody would have been safe. Almost nobody would have. And even if they did watch the commercial, I wouldn't be wearing the mask. It's like the kids need to be wearing the mask. Why is that? I mean, and if maybe the mask had some sort of addicted property or something, maybe that would make sense. It just doesn't make sense, the whole mask plot. Like as far as how it just doesn't. It doesn't make sense.
Why didn't they have him wear Michael Myers masks? That would have been like, oh, okay, so you're like, you're profiting off of this serial killer character, and then that ends up being the thing that kills the kids. Like, that would have at least made somewhat sense to me. But it's these stupid, like, I guess there's a pumpkin mask. Like, they're just dumb masks. It's stupid. The Scarecrow one, which actually does come back in the new Halloween that just came out, Halloween Ends, which I watched over the weekend.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I haven't. Again, I don't care. I saw the first one with Jamie Lee Curtis, just Halloween, not the first of this new trilogy.
David Gordon Green, who's the director guy, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, and it was fine. It wasn't like it wasn't scary.
Yeah.
It wasn't super entertaining. It was like, it's fine. It's okay. It didn't really need to exist. I wouldn't have been upset if it was deleted from reality.
That was a huge hit though. That movie made a ton of money.
Sure,
They have made 3 of them now.
Yep. And I haven't seen either one. I'm like, I don't need more of this.
Halloween
That's
Kills
okay.
is not good. The second one. The most recent one had kind of a weird plot twist to it, but I actually found it more interesting than the second one. So.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, I'm probably not going to see it anytime soon, but I don't know. I mean, the movie really, I mean, it falls flat. I mean, it's got a couple of really scary moments, but then you just end up thinking through the logistics of the plan way too much, and it doesn't make any sense. It just I don't know how many
Where do the
kids,
bugs come from?
Yeah, why does Stonehenge have the ability to melt people and turn them into bugs and snakes and stuff? I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. How did they steal Stonehenge? That's a movie in and of itself. That's like a national treasure. And why do they all have to be Irish? Why is there a curfew in the town? I mean, the townspeople presumably aren't robots, I assume, but we see them getting freaked out, and they have to have a curfew at 6, right? We hear the announcement, and everybody's terrified. We see them pulling in cats. Even they don't want their cats roaming the streets. Why? What will happen? Will they get killed?
Why would you have a motel to let random people come to this town if it's this closely guarded secret lair? Why not just build a fortress somewhere, on the side of a mountain? I don't know. There was nothing appealing. I do not recommend this movie. I would love to understand, and I read Brian's review. I've read some reviews of people that really like this movie, and I still don't get it. I still don't understand what is good about this movie, other than it just doesn't. What I think is the fact that they just didn't have Michael Myers in it is what people like about it. It's like,
that's a plus for me, for sure.
No Michael Myers. What a smart choice to make a franchise movie that
doesn't. It's not a smart choice. It's interesting. The smart choice is keep having the same thing that people like and keep selling them. Keep making the same stuff over and over again. People want to see what they like over and over again. That's
you know what the next Captain America movie is? Doesn't have Captain America in it. Is that a smart choice? That cool?
I mean, I think they couldn't get Chris Evans, right? I mean,
no. I'm just saying, like, there's no Captain America in this. What would you think about that? Is it a smart choice? We're just gonna.
I didn't say smart. I never said smart.
It's
so again,
an interesting choice.
That's way more interesting than we're gonna do
just
the same
make
thing.
A good Captain America movie. Just make a good Halloween movie. It's not that hard.
You can't. There's nothing there. Like, the idea was a guy in a mask who's a human, but is killing for reasons we don't understand. We don't know why he's targeting this woman. We don't know anything about him. He just goes after her. That's the scary idea. There's nothing else to flush out with Michael Myers. Figuring out what his psychosis is.
You could make
doesn't
a movie.
Make it interesting.
Here, playing on their idea. Kids watching Halloween, make them kill people.
Sure. If the kids started murdering in a Children of the Corn sort of thing, that would be freaky. If they were getting brainwashed by TV or something, sure. There are a lot of other choices you could build on.
Or if you're going to call your movie Season the Witch, put a witch in it.
Aren't they going to make another Captain America movie without Captain America?
He will be Captain America. There will be a Captain America.
So as long as you have
movie.
somebody Michael Myers who's not Michael Myers, but he's wearing a mask and has a knife, you can say it's a Halloween movie.
Sure, yes. Otherwise, don't call it Halloween.
Okay.
Don't call it Friday the 13th if you don't have. I suppose Jason wasn't really in the first Friday the 13th.
I want to make money. Let me give people the same stuff they want over and over again. They want to see the same stuff. They want to see Dr. Loomis over and over again. That's what they want. Give them Dr. Loomis. Give them Michael Myers.
If I'm paying money to see the movie that has the name of the franchise in it, you please deliver the franchise. Otherwise, call it something else.
That's fine. That's fine.
Because then I think you're just stealing from people at that point. You're hoping that they just buy the ticket. Oh, Halloween, yeah, whatever. I'll just go see that. And then it's a bait and switch. Well, I don't know when this movie came out. Coincidentally, this movie it's 40th anniversary. This movie came out mere weeks before I was born, so same age as me essentially. This movie is. But like, did people not understand? Critically at the time, it was panned. And it did okay business.
Was it panned or was it middling, or was it actually panned?
No, I think it was pretty well panned. From what my research was, that it was not well liked when it was released. And then it has since undergone this sort of critical reappraisal, which film people seem to do, which is a thing about the film world that bugs me. there's this sort of like reevaluation of things that weren't good and all of a sudden it's good, or things that were good and all of a sudden they're bad. And there's just becomes a sort of hive mind about it, which is kind of frustrating to me.
There's a hive mind about any opinion ever. I mean,
well, that's social media.
There's swaths of people
that.
who think Marvel's great, and there's other people thinking people are in a Marvel cult and that they're brainwashed by just a lame whatever. You can be upset about groupthink anywhere you want at this point these days.
But if this movie was just called Season of the Witch, did not have Halloween in the title, nobody would like this movie.
No, it'd be forgotten. I think it's its connection to
it
the
never
Halloween
would have
franchise.
even been released. I don't think you just never would have been made, because it's a stupid idea and it's a stupid movie, and the only reason it exists is because it has the name Halloween in the intro. And actually, the intro is probably the best part, with the computers kind of the
Making
digital
the jack-o'-lantern.
Yeah, the jack-o'-lantern. I thought that was actually pretty cool. And the music is phenomenal. Anytime I hear that music, it's let's go, and then I want to turn it off.
Okay.
So, I don't have a whole lot else to say, except I really, really did not like this movie at all.
I'm not shocked you didn't like it, because I didn't like it either. I am shocked that you didn't like it as much as you didn't like THX 1138, as we've got a new nadir for
THX 1138 is I can appreciate the attempt. I think it failed in every way it tried. This
I think it's a great movie. It's just not for you.
I can't even appreciate the attempt in this movie. The attempt is what actually makes me mad, is that they even tried it. And then not only did they try it, but then they just screwed it up royally. So it's doubly bad in my opinion.
Okay, that's interesting. See, I think THX 1138 is great. I think it does everything it aspires to. It's just not your kind of movie. This is just bad. I mean, that's the big difference to me. But I am still shocked, because I would assume there's enough here for you to not hate it as much as you do. I love
horror movies. I absolutely love horror movies. This movie was just, and I love the Halloween franchise. I mean, I don't know if I'm pretty sure I've seen 4. I don't think I've seen 5. I've seen parts of the Paul Rudd one. I don't think I've seen the whole thing. I've seen the first Rob Zombie one, which was okay. I don't know if you've seen any of those.
I think I might have seen one, but I don't like Rob Zombie. I think he's not good.
There's like a podcast twist to it, if I remember correctly. There's like a or is that the David Gordon Green one?
That's the David Gordon Green one, because there's podcasters who confront
That's
him.
Right. That's right. No,
and they get killed.
The Rob Zombie one, they sort of explain why he became the way he was.
Stop.
As a kid, he's kind of tortured by his family.
No.
And it's just mean. I mean, Rob Zombie's movies are just like mean.
I don't like
nasty.
Rob Zombie. His movies do not appeal to me. There's no part of this that sounds appealing to me, and I don't want to know why Michael Myers is the way. I want Michael Myers to be
H2O, Halloween H2O with the.
Which one is that? 7 or 6?
Ella Cool J and Josh Hartnett.
Which one is what number is that?
It's got to be 7 or 8.
Jeez.
It's pre-Rob Zombie, but post the Paul Rudd.
Oh gosh. Okay. No, I
think they've made like 14 of these fucking movies.
That's stupid. That's so dumb. I mean, if they made money good, I'm glad you could convince people to see more of this stuff. Could be like, I want more of the guy slashing the other guy, and I want to know why he's doing the slashing.
What's your honest opinion of the first Halloween?
It's a really well-made movie. It's not a movie that appeals to me as much as other people, but that's me. It's not.
You wouldn't rank that as like one of the greatest horror movies ever made.
Am I doing greatest or favorites? It's not anywhere close to my favorites. It's not anywhere in my top 50 favorite movies. I just
what would be your top 5 favorite horror movies?
Oh gosh, see, you ask me these kind of questions, and I don't really think.
Or just what's 5 ones you really, really like?
Hereditary.
Since we're winding down on
sure, Hereditary, Midsommar, The Exorcist, the Omen, the one from the 70s, Damien, Omen 2. Those movies really freaked me out, and they probably still freak me out. These are ones that I think are like kind of good and scary. I also like the Friday the 13th movies because they're silly, not because they're scary. I mean, Halloween is trying to be scary, and the first, Friday the 13th is trying to be scary. The first Nightmare on Elm Street. At some point, when you have this many silly sequels, it becomes silly and stupid. I mean, it can't be scary. It's not somebody you're like, this isn't scary at all. But I like a lot of those. I mean, I like Friday the 13th Part 4. I don't know if like Dream Warriors would be my favorite Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street movie. I mean, I don't know.
So no Carpenter, I noticed in there. You haven't mentioned a Carpenter movie.
The Thing. I mean, The Thing is great. I mean, The Thing doesn't scare me so much as I just love it. I don't necessarily identify with any of the characters really, but I love looking at it and being with those characters. So I guess The Thing would be up there. If Videodrome is considered horror, I love Videodrome, and we almost talked about that instead, and it would have been a better movie, easily, by a bazillion points. And there'd be more. I mean, I like Scanners. Again, doesn't scare me, but I like Scanners.
Also,
most horror movies don't scare me.
You know, slashery killer. You don't like killer movies with killers.
They're boring to me. They're not scary.
So
and
Chainsaw Massacre's not in there for you. You don't enjoy that movie. It's
fun. I enjoy it, but it's not one of my all-time favorites. The scene that's scariest to me is when the old man who you think is dead is actually still alive, and they try to help him hit the person with the mallet or whatever it is in his hand. That was the scene that freaked me out the most, because I thought the guy was dead. But a guy with a chainsaw running around isn't as scary to me as something that's supernatural or unexplained. I mean, I like American Werewolf in London. That's got some scary parts, but it's more funny than scary. I like the Gremlins, but again, horror comedy. There's very few that actually scare me is part of the problem. I love Let the Right One In. The original is great. That's up there. That movie really, really stuck with me a long time.
Yeah, it's fabulous. That's a fabulous movie. Vampires. I mean, that's a vampire movie.
Not vampires generally. Most vampire movies are dumb. I mean, not like Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter is up there. I don't care.
Carpenter's Vampires. Have you seen
yeah, when I was a kid, I thought it was cool. I doubt I would like it so much now. I don't think there are too many people who... That seems to be towards the bottom of most people's Carpenter's list. I mean, I don't know where you'd put it, but...
He lost his fastball at that point, I think.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, the concept of the slasher or somebody with a knife, if it's a human, it doesn't... It's just not scary. And stuff that these unexplained is just so weird that can be upsetting to me. But I'd be like, what about you? I mean, you love Halloween.
Well, I think Mount Rushmore would be Halloween, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Exorcist.
Okay.
What's number 4? The Omen's probably one. I mean, because that's the possessed. Well, Exorcist is kind of that too.
They're similar. I mean, Rosemary's Baby freaked me out.
Sure,
I mean,
Rosemary's Baby's probably the one that would be.
I love Rosemary's Baby. In terms of stuff that freaks me out, and there's stuff that's silly. Conjuring's not anywhere near on the top of the list, but that's a fun horror movie. It doesn't scare me, but I have a good time. I jump a little bit. Ooh, a little spooky.
It is the one genre that I think there's still original ideas in. You mentioned 2 Ari Aster movies, Jordan Peele, he's making horror. I don't know if you consider
Get Out, sure.
or Nope or
I think so.
Us as traditional horror movies, but they just came out. These are new movies that are still really, really good and really original too.
There's a bunch of new stuff that I haven't seen, like Pearl and X and stuff that I need to watch, and I just haven't. That sounds really
loves cool. X. So Damon Fudge was on our episode a few weeks ago. The LA Confidential recommended those movies. We watched X. Pearl, I think, is still in the theater, so not available, but really loved X. X was awesome.
See, yeah, the Witch was really, really good. I mean, it didn't scare me a ton, but it just left me with just a vague, unsettling feeling. I'm just like, man, this movie's really well made. I mean, I like that one a lot. There are more if I really, really think about it. But yeah, there's very few.
But The Lighthouse is Robert Eggers, right? Yeah. His next movie, I fucking love that movie, but it's not a horror movie at all. Sure. I wouldn't call it a horror movie in any way.
Or Cabin in the Woods, I love. I mean, that was one I flirted with talking about because I haven't seen that in probably about a decade. But
I think we're probably in the same. You and I are probably the same sort of opinion of. I like a slasher more than you. Maybe is the one thing that's
somebody with
coming
a knife.
Out of this.
A person with a knife. I mean, it'd be scary in real life. I don't want somebody to chase me with a knife, but as a concept, it isn't super scary to me. It's something that I can't understand or is weird, like Amityville Horror, like the original. That one, okay, something that I can't quite wrap my head around.
Never seen that. Never seen the original Amityville. There's like a Ryan Reynolds one or like a remake. I think I've seen that.
Of course, we haven't mentioned The Shining. The Shining is great too.
Yes, of course, The Shining that's the fourth on my Mount Rushmore. Shining, Texas Chainsaw, Halloween.
And Halloween wouldn't make any it wouldn't make the cut of any of my top movies. It's well made. I'm not like Halloween 3 Season of the Witch is really poorly made. It's just because it makes so many weird choices with plot. The script is just really terrible.
And the lead characters there's nothing to them.
The original Halloween isn't like that. The original Halloween is a really cool concept. It's the best slasher movie. Right?
Dr. Loomis is a great character.
What's the best slasher movie? Halloween. Fine. That's fine. It's just the best slasher movie is not going to appeal to me as much as it's going to appeal to other people. It's like, it's okay. It's a person with a knife. That's kind of scary, but a person with a knife can be shot. They can be arrested or
Well, in the
harmed.
first one, he's not like invincible.
Well, right. It gets stupid. This is where we have to keep bringing him back. We have to keep kind of almost killing him, but not really because we need sequels. And
I mean, he has died in so many outlandish ways after the first one that it's just like, what? How is he still alive? It makes no sense.
The same thing happens with Jason and Freddy Krueger, but those are more silly and campy fun, right? That's more schlocky silliness.
Well, Freddy Krueger is in your dreams, so like, is it a spirit? Is it a demon? Okay, he can do whatever it wants. Jason is literally like an undead monster, which is okay. He can. Whatever you can't kill him. That's okay. I don't need any further explanation than that. I mean, I think Michael Myers at some point they start leading him into being this like sort of demonic kind of creature, but I don't need more explanation.
But I mean, like The Blob entertains me more than like a slasher movie. That's more interesting and fun to watch. Anyway, I know you said a bunch of stuff that I missed, but
it's all right. You wouldn't listen anyway.
No, it's fine. I mean, we can wind up this Halloween 3 Season of the Witch discussion because we're not that far out. I mean, you hated it. You have a vitriolic, emotional hate. I think it's just bad. I like some of the ideas, but the execution is just so piss poor, largely because the script is just utter nonsense. It really does just descend into like James Bond lunacy. And yeah, the character seemed like he was going to be interesting. He's not. We get gratuitous sex.
That guy's in The Fog. Have you seen The Fog? Another John Carpenter movie?
I haven't seen The Fog.
He's the lead in that, and he's just like he's like a truck driver or something like that, and he's just like some tough truck driver guy. And he's fun. I don't have anything against him. It's mostly just the character, the whatever writing they had for his.
Okay. No, yeah, it's the script. It's the script that's just terrible. I mean. The script needs several rewrites and redos. It just needs somebody to go through and
just throw it in the trash and have a different idea because the idea is stupid.
Oh, well, we disagree there, but.
If you build, he will come.
Okay.
We're splitting hairs.
Do you want to
is it 1 star? Or are you
what's
going
the lowest I can give it? A half star?
You can give it a Kirk Cousins on the bottom. Or a Tom Brady on the top. I don't know, whatever. You can give whatever number you want. You can go negative if you like.
I think Letterboxd, the half star is the lowest you can rate a movie. So I on Letterboxd, I give it a half star. If I could give it 0 stars, I would. I really didn't like this movie.
Okay. I'm at like 2. I liked some of the stuff a lot better. It didn't fall apart to me till the very end. Yeah, I'm at 2. The movie was working pretty well for me for 2/3 of the way through. And then it just completely disintegrates at the end. And not only is the last act itself bad, but it ruins the first 2 acts as far as I'm concerned. It makes the parts that did work just work way less, become stupid, and then I just spent the whole time thinking about, wow, this is really dumb. And I just kept thinking of like Roger Moore era. I mean, this is right when Roger Moore was still doing James Bond, towards the end of his run. It's like, oh, this is like a Roger Dalton James Bond movie. This is really stupid. It's cartoonish and silly and like, okay, I cannot take this seriously.
But and it's not trying to be funny. I mean, that's the thing. Some people are like, oh, it's like, it's one of those movies, it's bad movies that are funny. It's not trying. This movie's trying to be serious. And then I think later is like, oh wait, this is really stupid.
I did laugh when he threw the mask on the camera.
When the woman,
so stupid.
When you find out she's a robot and he's like ripping her head off. And then she drops her body, and you just see her ass, and then the stupid little head sitting in the grass. I mean, I lost my shit laughing at it.
And it kept going. I was like, move on from this stupid fight. This is taking like 5 minutes. I don't need this. This is why are we having a robot fight at the end of this?
If it hadn't been almost over and we weren't going to do a podcast, I would have just turned it off. I would have been like, nope, this is just the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
I literally thought of the second Austin Powers movie. The protagonist from the love interest from the first movie, she was a fembot the whole time, right? Like, find that out. Which is like a comedic bit, and it works as like, oh, this is silly because we're not taking it seriously. But it's like, I kept thinking of that, like, she's a robot the whole time, and we have this extended, ridiculous fight with them, and it keeps going. Oh, she's got another body part. Oh, the arm's left. The arm's still trying to strangle. Like, come on.
And it's like her arm in her shirt, where you could just clearly tell that she's just moving her shoulder. It's so awful. So bad.
And then he somehow gets the number for the TV stations. And, like, they listen to him, and they turn off. Like, what? How does he get their number? How does he get their... And they listen to him? How does he get a hold of somebody who... What? And the kids are like so invested in it. They come into the gas station and like are changing the channel, and nobody's like pulling them away from the TV. I'm like, if you think that kid's about to die, like, pull him away. Shut the TV off. Unplug
just turn the TV off. Just turn it off.
Unplug it. Yeah. Remove it from the power source. Like, oh God, what? You're just like sitting there. I don't know. No, it's bad. I mean, 2 stars, and it feels generous. I mean, I think you're right that it's really bad. Could probably talk me down to 1.5 stars, but I think there's a couple of kernels of good ideas in there.
Can you explain why people like this? Like, I read Brian's. He's way smarter at movies than I am, obviously.
You couldn't understand what he wrote? Is that
no. He there's a few clauses or parts of his review where he's just like, you have to kind of look past the plot holes, look past the characters, and then just sort of enjoy the funness of it. And I guess maybe that's the thing, as I can't just look past
I couldn't either. The last act just ruined that. For a while, I was like, this doesn't make perfect sense. Okay, they're like in this facility, and everybody's in this weird Ireland cult thing. It's creepy, but the atmosphere worked for a while.
You mentioned the Blob. There are plot holes in that movie. It doesn't make sense how the Blob thing's moving back and forth, but whatever. I don't care. Like, right. It's a Blob movie, and there's cool Blob kills. I'm looking past some of the things that don't make sense.
The characters are likable, and the effects are all really, really good.
I really liked that movie.
Great.
Yeah. I mean, it's got our guy Dylan, who's not a good actor or a fun character, but I can look past that and whatever.
Sure.
It's fine.
Sure.
But there's just, I cannot.
And I was until, okay, here's my secret layer. I want to tell somebody, so I'm telling you, random doctor.
I watched this video, another movie review guy who didn't like it either. And he clipped the scene where they try to walk past them where they're in the lair, and they push the little cart, and they're standing behind the cart like nobody can see this cart moving with these people standing behind it. And they go across the whole room standing behind this cart. And it's like, of course nobody's looking at them, but it just is the dumbest looking. Like, this movie is like an Austin Powers skit where it's like, why is nobody pushing this cart? It's just floating. They should have just walked. Nobody would have noticed, like, 2 people just walking in the lair.
There was a moment, I swear, like, right before he hit a bunch of random buttons on the computer. How did he know what buttons to push, Eric? How did he know how to manipulate the computer? He's a doctor. Make him a tech guy. That would have made more sense.
Make him anything other than a doctor.
He's like, it's a robot. Oh, I know how to deal with this. But at one point, I saw him walk up, and I swore I saw people looking right at the camera at him. Like, I swear I saw, like, actors just staring at him and just not acknowledging his existence.
Okay.
Like, oh, I guess there's a reason for you to just be hitting random buttons. And then he did it so well that they couldn't turn it off, and they're, like, scrambling. I'm like, are these robots? Are these people? What is going on? I don't know. But
it's 2 stars for you. 2 stars for Ben.
2 out of 5, sure. That's generous. That's generous. So you could knock me down to 1.5 if you really wanted to talk me into it. Again, the creepiest moment of any of these 3 movies was the kid dying. It was very terrifying.
I thought Gunther was scarier than.
Oh, Gunther didn't scare me really at all. I thought, okay, it looked kind of goofy. The mask. If
Gunther had been in this movie, it's a better movie. Just don't even explain why Gunther's in it. Just put Gunther in it, even though this.
Gunther needs a bunch of dead kids to eat or to be released or something. Fine.
Way better movie.
But yeah, no, the guy gets beamed by Stonehead. He applauds. I was like, wait, why is he applauding? He's happy that the guy killed all the people /robots. He claps. And
He's
then
got a smile on his face.
and then he gets teleported and he like waves bye-bye. And I swear, like, did he open a portal to hell? That would make some sense. But why do we have robots? Why are we mixing robots with Stonehenge can turn people's brains into like biblical? It felt it was like locusts and snakes. Maybe think of Moses and Pharaoh and the 7 plagues or however many plagues there are. And I guess but it didn't make sense. So no, I mean, this movie's bad. I don't get the reappraisal. I mean, some people, I don't have an explanation. I mean, some people are right. I wanted to like this movie a lot more because I don't like Michael Myers and I don't care. So I gave it more points for that. I like that they did something different, even if you're right and everything about it is a horrible, awful, dumb, stupid choice. I'm far more interested in interesting choices than here's going to make us more money. Let's just make this product work a little better. That I admire about it more than you do, but it's terrible. It really is bad. Like I don't have any real defense of it.
All right.
I don't know why people, but yeah.
Well, if we're connecting this movie to the greatest Iowa sports movie ever made, Field of Dreams, how are you doing it, Ben? In 5 steps.
All right, yeah, and I give me a second.
I can do it. I'll go first.
I forgot the actor. I wrote down one. I forgot to write down one actor's name, and I just don't know it. I know him from RoboCop, but I don't know his name.
Dan O'Herlihy.
Okay,
is his name because I used him as well. Yeah, the guy from RoboCop.
Well, you go first. That was my only gap. But you go. Yep.
Dan O'Herlihy, I think is his name. He plays
That's terrible.
Scientist guy.
He's the Bond villain.
Yeah,
At first he kind of worked. And then when he became a Bond villain, I was like, oh, this doesn't work anymore. When I didn't understand what you were doing, you were a lot more ominous, and now you're just cartoonish and stupid.
Yep. He's, as you said, in RoboCop. Nancy Allen is in RoboCop.
Sure.
She's in Blowout, which we did a previous episode with Chris Hewitt from the Star Tribune is on that. John Lithgow is in Blowout. He's in a movie, I think it might be a TV movie called Ivory Hunters. I've never seen it, and James Earl Jones is in that as well.
Is that about people hunting like elephants in Africa?
An author discovers that his missing research assistant's disappearance may be related to illegal ivory trade.
I may have saw that when I was a real young kid and not understood at all what I was watching.
Okay.
I think
it's from 1990. You would have been a little kid, yeah.
Yeah, I just remember something about somebody's murdering elephants, and I was really upset that people were killing elephants. That was really upsetting to me as a little kid. So I went then. I'm not even going to try to butcher his last name. But O'Herlihy, sure, great. He's in The Last Starfighter, Eric, which was a movie I loved as a kid. I've only saw it a couple of times, but there's like ultimate nerd fantasy. Have you ever seen The Last Starfighter?
I don't think so.
It came out I think it came out right before I was born, 1984. And this guy lives in a trailer park and he's playing an arcade game and he finally like beats it or gets the high score.
Like a Tron kind of.
But then an alien ends up coming and saying, "Oh, this was really a way of testing to see if you're good enough to be an actual starfighter. And oh, look, you're so great at this game, you're going to be a starfighter. We're going to train you to fight."
There was like a Harrison Ford movie. It was based off of a book that recently came out. Where they like trained playing video games and then they became.
Oh, that's Ender's Game. Ender's Game, which is based off of a book. And that's Alien. They think they're not really. Yeah, they don't realize they're actually telling people how to fight aliens. Yeah, this is one where he gets trained. But anyway, he's got an alien person that works in the plane with him, sidekick, whatever. And
I just looked at his picture with I think I've seen part of that. Yep.
It was a movie. I was like, oh, I could get really good at video games, get recruited to become a pilot. Like it was just sounded really mind blowing when I was a kid. But he's that alien guy. But also in The Last Starfighter is a guy named Robert Preston, who he's the guy that first recruits the kid that plays the video game. He pretends like I created the video game. Come in this van. And they fly off into space. He was the lead in The Music Man, referencing in Iowa. Meredith Wilson, Mason City's own, wrote Music Man, set in River City, which is made up, but I think it's a play on. I don't know if it's Burlington or one of the cities along the Mississippi. But he's the lead, and then we've got Shirley Jones is the lead opposite, Marion the librarian, and she's in a lot of movies, so people will know Shirley Jones. Have you seen Grandma's Boy?
No.
Okay.
Don't know what that is.
It's got
Adam Sandler. Is that
his company? I don't think Adam Sandler's in it, but a lot of his crew is in it. A lot of the like bit characters, people he used, are in it. But she plays a character on it. But she is also with Burt Lancaster in a movie called Elmer Gentry, which is based on an Upton Sinclair novel and has got, I think, a lot of anti-religion. Elmer Gentry is like a small town, I think, preacher who fire and brimstone, and uses that to consolidate power. And she's opposite him. And Burt Lancaster's obviously in Field of Dreams. So there we go.
Okay. Nice work.
To you as well.
All right. Anything else you want to say about Season of the Witch?
No.
Can we?
I mean, no. It's. I mean, I wasn't bored watching it. It made you mad. I was creeped out, and then I was laughing and like, oh, this is really.
I mean, what about the scene where this doctor guy, we get introduced to him at his hospital. Like you said, he was like drinking, and then he gets called in. He talks to the nurse, who's like this older woman.
Oh,
and
it's
then
awful.
He grabs her ass, and it's like he's like, I should have married you, and he grabs her ass, which is just like absolutely inappropriate. And then the forensic lady, he keeps talking about taking her out to dinner, and he's hugging her.
They've boned before, for sure.
Sure. It's just this guy
Every
was just
woman in this movie loves him.
laying it on just the whole time. It's outrageous that they used to put stuff like that in. Can you imagine that being in a movie today?
No.
Never.
I mean, if you did, that guy would have to be the villain, and he'd have to get punished for
He
his
would go to
horrible
jail,
misdeeds.
yes.
Or die because the monster hates him or whatever, sure.
Well, there is actually, now that I'm thinking about that, there's a reference to that in the Halloween Ends, the most recent one. There is a doctor that sort of like sexually harasses the nurses in his clinic that Laurie Stroud's granddaughter works at.
That's probably a reference. I don't know.
It must
I know
be.
Brian said like there's a lot of parallels between Halloween 3 Season of the Witch and this.
Well,
this
that was
Halloween.
part of the reason why I watched Halloween Ends, is I'm like, oh, Brian mentioned that. I have heard that before. Like, well, how does this connect? It doesn't really in any way, except for those just little breadcrumbs.
Okay.
But all right. So for our last installment of Spooky Season number 4, which probably will come out after Halloween. So
Oh wow.
if you want some more spooky stuff after Halloween, you want to listen to us talk about a horror movie, that's when you'll hear this. I'm gonna give 5 clues. 5 clues, right?
5. You can do 4 if you want.
Okay. For
It's
the
up to
next
you.
film, Ben's gonna try to guess it, and we'll start. So it's a horror movie. I guess that's obviously in there. So clue number 1. This is a foreign film. It is not from America.
Foreign? You mean foreign to us, normal U.S. citizens?
It's a non-English
I know.
language film. I don't know how
gotcha.
else to say that.
Yeah, sure, that's fine.
And I'll give you the year, from 2007.
Okay, go ahead. Next clue.
Next clue. This is ranked number 60 on Time Out's list of top 100 best horror films.
Okay.
Which I should pull that out. What number 1 is? That'd be kind of or where Halloween Season of the Witch falls on that. I should.
It's not on any list. And, I guess if you're obviously the reviewing space is incredibly competitive. There are loads of podcasts and people writing reviews, and I think it's fair to think I'm going to try to reevaluate something that was reviled, or I'm going to try to trash something that was loved and try to get some attention that way. But yeah, Halloween 3 Season of the Witch ain't it.
So yeah, it's got like Halloween's. I think it has it at number 8 or 8 or
Sure,
9.
I'm not surprised it'd be in the top 10. Everybody loves it. I understand. It's well made. It works for a lot of people.
All right, hold on. I'm seeing if Season of the Witch is in there. Black Christmas is in there. Halloween. So no Season of the Witch.
Oh, what a shock.
Not in the top 100. But this is top 60. All right, so clue number 3.
Sure.
Let's see. It was remade in 2008. There's an American movie that was remade.
Is it Let the Right One In?
No, it is not.
Okay.
But that is true. That's a similar thing where the international movie was released and then it was like quickly remade. So this was like the next year it was remade in America and released. And I think I haven't seen this movie yet. I think I have seen the American remake.
Okay.
It was a fairly sort of well-known movie it had a major release.
Okay.
All right, so clue number 4 now, right?
Sure, yes.
So it's Spanish. It's from Spain, and it is a found footage movie.
Okay, I don't know. I steer clear of those pretty much, but all right.
Not a found footage fan, huh? I noticed you didn't mention like paranormal. You didn't mention Blair Witch.
I've never seen Blair Witch.
You've never seen the original Blair Witch Project?
Correct. I never saw it. Nope.
Are you serious?
Once. Yeah. I saw part of a Paranormal Activity. That doesn't appeal to me at all. I feel like the found footage genre was played out very quickly.
So it's not have you seen the VHS movies?
Nope. I've seen almost none of these anthology movies, so no, okay. I haven't.
Well, they became anthologies after.
I thought VHS was an anthology. Like
that's what you mean by anthology. Yes.
Like there's 3 different vignettes or however many.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. You're right.
Like Creep Show or whatever.
Correct. Yep. So this movie is a film series. There's, I think at this point, 4 of them have come out.
Okay.
But I will read you. Let's see. I'll give you the plot synopsis as the final clue. So it's a 2007 Spanish found footage horror film that was remade in 2008 as an American movie. The plot is a television reporter and a cameraman follow emergency workers into a dark apartment building and are quickly locked inside with something terrifying.
Okay. Don't know.
Okay. The movie is called REC, R-E-C. So like record or recorded.
Yep. Okay.
So that's the...
I vaguely remember this coming out, or there being a REC movie, and I probably just immediately dismissed it. It was like, I don't care. There's the shaky cam, and it's going to go dark, and we're going to get quick flashy images of some scary, spooky thing, and it's going to kind of make me nauseous and annoyed.
Okay. All right. So start off with I've never seen this. A lot of people say this is like maybe the scariest movie ever made. In terms of like actually scaring you to...
Okay.
Frighten you that this movie will, but based off of the things you just said, the shaky camera, the jump scares, the things coming in and out of focus is. So I actually I saw Blair Witch. I don't know. Did I see it in the theater? I don't know if I saw it in the theater. The end of that
would have been 17. So you've been old enough.
Would have been right in the wheelhouse. The end of that movie is one of the most, I think, terrifying sequences in movie history. The way that movie ends, and I don't remember it at the time where it was like people thought it was real. There was a bit where it was like, was that a movie or was these people really?
They covered this. They really had an extensive trying to make it seem like maybe it was real, and they created a fake Blair Witch narrative and try to convince people like, oh, maybe they actually found.
Like the actors they didn't publicize the movie. They didn't come out till like after it was out because they wanted people to think that maybe they died.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. And the actors didn't like it because they couldn't
and none of them did anything else after that. It obviously didn't help their careers.
Right.
But the movie, that's like one of the most financially profitable movies ever made, in terms of what it cost and what they made.
Oh yeah, I mean those stuff are usually pretty. And the paranormal activity movies, they've made a boatload of money.
It costs like $10,000 to make, and they make 20 million, 30 million.
Although we haven't had one in a long time. Are we done with the Paranormal Activity?
There was one last year or the year before that went straight to Paramount Plus, I think. Maybe it was earlier this year. I didn't see it. I like my wife and I watched a bunch of them. We must have watched at least 4 of those paranormal movies.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. Fair enough. All right, so REC. The original Spanish version from Mexico.
From Spain. I think it's from Spain.
Oh, I thought. Okay, got it. Okay.
I think it's like Spanish, like proper, like
got it.
Country Spain.
Proper. Got it. Sure. The country that conquered the Aztecs. Got it.
Correct. Why they speak Spanish in Mexico.
Understood. Roger that. All right. Well, I look forward to checking out REC. Hopefully,
happy Halloween to everybody out there.
Be safe.
Be safe. Watch out for kids. Not to be the dad, but like Halloween is the worst day for child deaths, for like vehicular kills. It's awful. Like if you look at the statistics, there's this whole thing. I don't know if you follow in this, the like fentanyl and Skittles and shit. The like drugs and candy is like back again. Where it's like you gotta check your kids' candy and shit. But it is so much more dangerous in terms of kids getting hit by cars than anything else on Halloween. So my point is, drive slow on Halloween, please. Watch for kids. You don't need to be driving your ass out late at night at Halloween. Stay home. Stay home.
Stay home and watch Halloween.
Season of the Witch.
Stay away from the prize giveaway. Put on your produced mask that looks like all these other masks out and about, which is what every kid wants on Halloween, is to look like a bunch of other kids, for sure. Yeah. Watch the screen. It's almost time. Focus.
Well,
that was creepy. No, it wasn't.
That was stupid. Thanks for listening, everybody. Please rate and review us.
Please rate and subscribe.
Can you do it in Irish? Please rate and subscribe. I don't know.
That just formed into your Robert Shaw.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. You went Robert Shaw. Hey, everybody, could you like and subscribe?
The BDAs.
The Pot of Dreams.
Michael Myers is the BDAs. He's got
doll's
doll's eyes.
He's got William Shatner's face.
Jaws a horror movie? No, it's not. I don't think so. I think that's crap.
That teeters the line, but that's fine. What's the difference between a thriller and horror?
Thanks for listening.
Bye-bye.